Hello and welcome to the 2021 Israeli legislative election held on the 23rd of March 2021. This election was held on the 23rd of March to elect the 120 members of the Knesset, or gathering in English, the unicameral legislature of Israel. Elections are held using closed-list PR in a single nationwide constituency with a threshold of 3.25%. Likud, consolidation in English, is the first party. That's a national liberal party which won 36 seats and 29.5% of the vote at the last election. It's led by Benjamin Netanyahu, who's had a long career. He was Minister of Science and Technology from 1996 to 1997, and also Minister of Housing and Construction from then until 1999, Foreign Affairs Minister from 2002 to 2003, Finance Minister from 2003 to 2005, Economic Strategy, Health and Pensioners Affairs Minister from 2009 to 2013, Foreign Affairs Minister from 2012 to 13, Foreign Affairs, Public Diplomacy and Diaspora Affairs Minister in 2013, Communications Minister from 2014 to 15, Pensioners Affairs Minister again in 2015, Economy, Foreign Affairs, Health and Regional Cooperation Minister between 2015 and 2019, Defence Minister from 2018 to 2019, and Likud Party Chairman from 1993 to 99, and again since 2005, and also Prime Minister, which is Head of Government since 1996 to 1999, and again since 2009. The second party is Yesh Atid. Now, in the last election, the Zionist Yesh Atid Telem bloc, which is led by Yair Lapid, who has been leader of the opposition since 2020 and a member of the Knesset for Yesh Atid, the Liberal Party. The name means there is a future in English since 2013. They run in alliance with the Zionist Blue and White, with Lapid joining Blue and White in 2019, but then he left to rejoin Yesh Atid in 2020. Lapid was also Finance Minister between 2013 and 2014. Now, his Yesh Atid Telem bloc was co-led by Moshe Ya'alon, a soldier who was head of Amman, which is the military intelligence, between 1995 and 98, head of Central Command between 1998 and 2000, and Deputy Chief of the General Staff between 1999 and 2002, and then Chief of the General Staff from 2002 to 2005. He then became a politician, first being elected for Likud in 2009 to 2016, before being re-elected as a Blue and White MK between 2019 and 2020, and then splitting back to Yesh Atid Telem in 2020. Ya'alon was Vice Prime Minister between 2009 to 13, Minister of Strategic Affairs 2009 to 13, and Minister of Defence between 2013 and 16. And you see Lapid in the top right and Ya'alon in the top middle. Blue and White is led by Benny Gantz, Speaker of the Knesset in 2020, Chief of the General Staff between 2011 and 15, and a Blue and White MK since 2019, as well as a Minister of Defence since 2020, and alternate Prime Minister since 2020. That's a Prime Minister designate in a rotation agreement. In the last election, Yesh Atid Telem and Blue and White ran together and got 26.6% of the vote, 18 for Yesh Atid Telem and 15 for Blue and White. However, two Yesh Atid Telem members left, forming Derek Eretz, the Way of the Land, another Zionist party, which is led by Yoaz Hendel, who was a Blue and White MK from 2019 to 20, but then joined Derek Eretz, and was also Minister of Communications briefly in 2020, and Zvi Hauser, who did the same thing, first being a Blue and White MK from 2019 to 20, and since then won for Derek Eretz. In this election, Yesh Atid are running separately, led by Lapid, with Blue and White also running. Derek Eretz are not running. The third party in the last election was the Joint List, a pro-Israeli Arab interest party with 15 seats and 12.7% of the vote at the last election. It's led by Ayman Odeh, who was first elected in 2015 as a Joint List MK, then in 2019 moving to a joint faction between the communist Hadash, or New in English, and the Arab nationalist Tal, an acronym that means Arab Movement for Renewal in English. In 2019, he moved back to the Joint List, where he has remained ever since. The next party is Shas, an acronym meaning Sephardic Guardians in English. That's a Zionist party with 9 seats and 7.7% of the vote in the last election. It is led by Aryeh Deri, a Shas MK from 1992 to 99, 2013 to 15, 2015 to 16, and again from 2019 to 20. He was Minister of Internal Affairs from 1988 to 92, Minister without Portfolio in 1993, Minister of Internal Affairs in 1993, Minister of the Economy in 2015, Minister of the Development of the Negev and the Galilee since 2015, Interior Minister since 2016, and Minister of Religious Services briefly in 2018. The next party is United Torah Judaism, a pro-Ashkenazi Haredi interest party with 7 seats at the last election and 6% of the vote. It was led by Yaakov Litzman, that's the guy with the smaller picture there, who was first elected as a UTJ MK from 1999 to 2005 before moving to the Torah Jewish Agudat Yisrael, or Union of Israel in English, party from 2005 to 6. He returned to the UTJ from 2006 to 8, moved back to Agudat Yisrael from 2008 to 9, but he moved back to UTJ in 2009 and he's remained there ever since. He's been Minister of Housing and Construction since 2020, after being Health Minister from 2019 to 2020, after a previous stint from 2015 to 17. But for this election, it has a new leader, Moshe Gafni, who was first elected for the Knesset for the pro-religious Jewish interest party, Degel HaTorah, Banner of the Torah, from 1988 to 1992. He was then re-elected in 1994 as a United Torah Judaism MK. In 1996, briefly moved back to the Degel HaTorah faction, but then rejoined UTJ till 1998. He was re-elected from 1999. In 2005, he rejoined Degel HaTorah, but in 2006, he moved back to United Torah Judaism. Then in 2008, Degel HaTorah, but in 2009, he rejoined United Torah Judaism, and he stayed there ever since. The next party at the last election, well, it was an alliance, the Israeli Labour Party, a social democratic party, which was led by Amir Peretz. He was leader of the opposition from 2005 to 2006, as he was party leader between 2005 and 2007, and again from 2019 to 2021. He's had a long career, first elected as a MK from the Social Democratic Alignment from 1988 to 92, but then moved to Labour. In 1999, he moved to the Social Democratic One Nation, but rejoined Labour in 2004, where he served as an MK until 2012. In 2013, he was re-elected for the Liberal Hatnuah, or The Movement in English. In 2015, he moved to the Zionist Union, and from 2019 to 21, he was again a Labour MK. He was Defence Minister from 2006 to 2007, Deputy Prime Minister from 2006 to 2007, Environmental Protection from 2013 to 14, and Economy Minister since 2020. He's the guy on the top left. They ran with Meretz, or Vigor in English, a social democratic party led by Nitzan Horowitz, that's the guy next to Peretz. He was first elected as a Meretz MK from 2009 to 15, but then the Social Liberal Democratic Union from 2019 to 20. He rejoined Meretz in 2020. Also in the alliance was Gesher, Bridge, a Zionist party led by Orly Levy. She's in the bottom middle. An MK for the revisionist Zionist Yisrael Beitenu, Israel or Home in English, from 2009 to 17. An independent until 2019, and then for Gesher ever since. She was also Community Empowerment and Advancement Minister since 2020. Now, this alliance won 5.8% of the vote, yielding 3 seats for Labour, 3 for Meretz and 1 for Gesher. But in this election, Labour are running separately with new leader Merav Michaeli, she's at the bottom left, who was first elected as an MK for Labour in 2013 before joining the Zionist Union in 2015 and returning to Labour in 2019. She then became the Labour leader in 2021, and Meretz are also running separately, but Gesher are not running at this election. Yisrael Beitenu are running as well, getting 5.7% of the vote and 7 seats in the last election. They're led by Avigdor Lieberman, who first became an MK in 1999 for Yisrael Beitenu. He then joined the Nationalist National Union between 2003 and 2006, returned to Yisrael Beitenu as a member of the Knesset from 2006 and 2016, and again since 2019. He's also a ministerial post, National Infrastructure from 2001 to 2002, Transportation from 2003 to 2004, Deputy Prime Minister from 2006 to 2008, Strategic Affairs Minister for the same term, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister from 2009 to 2012, Foreign Affairs Minister again from 2013 to 15, and Defence Minister from 2016 to 2018. He's the guy on the bottom right. Next is Yamina, which means rightwards in English. That's a Zionist party led by Naftali Bennett in the top left. Bennett was first elected as an MK for the religious Zionist The Jewish Home Party from 2013 to 18, moving to the Zionist New Right faction from 2018 to 19. He then became a Yamina MK in 2019, moving back to the New Right from 2019 to 20, but then he returned to Yamina in 2020, and that's where he's remained since then. He's had some ministerial posts: economy and religious services from 2013 to 2015, diaspora affairs from 2013 to 2019, education from 2015 to 2019, and defence minister from 2019 to 2020. Now, in the last election, they ran with the Jewish Home Party, which is now led by Rafi Peretz, the chief military rabbi from 2010 to 2016. He's there in the top right. He was first elected as an MK for the religious Zionist Union of Right-Wing Parties in 2019. He moved to Yamina in 2019 and then joined a joint faction between the Jewish Home Party and the religious Zionist Party in the same year. In 2020, he moved back to Yamina and finally served as a Jewish Home MK from 2020 to 2021. He was Education Minister from 2019 to 2020 and Jerusalem Affairs Minister from 2020 to 21. This list got 5.2% of the vote, with 5 seats for Yamina and 1 for the Jewish Home Party. But in this election, Yamina are running alone, with the Jewish Home Party dropping out and endorsing them. The Religious Zionist Party are running in their own right, led by Bezalel Smotrich. He was first elected as a Jewish Home MK in 2015, before moving to the Union of Right-Wing Parties in 2019 and then Yamina in the same year. He then moved to the joint Jewish Home Religious Zionist bloc from 2019 to 2020, before returning to sit as a Yamina MK in 2020, and he'll remain in the Yamina group in the outgoing parliament, but in the Religious Zionist Party for this election. He's the guy at the bottom. We next have New Hope, a national liberal party new to this election. It's led by Gideon Saar, who was a Likud MK from 2013 to 14 and 2019 to 20. He was Education Minister from 2009 to 2013 and Interior Minister from 2013 to 2014. Next we have the United Arab List, who's a conservative party running independently in this election, led by Mansour Abbas, who was an MK first elected for the United Arab List 2019. He moved to sit with the Joint List in 2019, and he'll sit there until the election, but his party is running separately from the Joint List this time. The other parties include the New Economic Party, led by former Accountant General between 2003 and 2007, Yaron Zeleka. The Bible Bloc Party, led by Dennis Lipkin, also ran. The Communist Dam Workers Party, Dam means support in English, led by Yoav Gal Tamir, was on the ballot, as was the Liberal Hetz, or Arrow, led by Lyle Shapira. The Pirate Party of Israel, led by Ohad Shem Tov. The Zionist Somet, or Crossroads in English, led by Moshe Green. They were all on the ballot. Mohammed Darasheh's pro-Israeli Arab interest, Arab Democratic Party, were on the ballot. They publicly withdrew before the election, but the paperwork was already filled. Former Shas MK between 2006 and 2012, and then independent from 2012 to 2013, Haim Salam led a party named Am Shalem. 18 other parties, 2 who had publicly withdrew but still appeared on the ballot, were also present. In the 2020 election, the coalition agreement was signed between Likud and Blue and White, which was meant to have rotating prime ministers, but they failed to pass a budget, which under the law meant that the Knesset was automatically dissolved, leading to an election. Opinion polls showed Likud well in the lead, with Yesh Atid in second. Yamina was slightly ahead of the New Hope for a close battle for third. The Joint List were just ahead of Shas in the fight for fifth, and just behind them there was a close fight between United Torah Judaism and Yisrael Beitenu. Labour were just ahead of the Religious Zionist Party, with Blue and White ahead of Meretz, and then the United Arab List. The New Economic Party would miss out, and no other party would get close. There's also something called a surplus vote agreement, where for certain electoral purposes, basically as a sort of tie-break for leftover seats when all the math's done, 2 parties can be counted as one party for electoral purposes. These agreements were signed between Yamina and New Hope, Yesh Atid and Yisrael Beitenu, Blue and White and the New Economic Party, Likud and the Religious Zionist Party, Labour and Meretz, and Shas and the UTJ. Now, the opinion polls were not entirely accurate. There were a few surprises at this election. Likud did win with 30 seats, and Yesh Atid got 17 seats. Shas got 9 seats. Blue and White, though, got 8 seats. Yamina, Labour, the United Torah Judaism, and Yisrael Beitenu all got 7 seats. The Religious Zionist Party, the Joint List, New Hope, and Meretz all got 6, and the United Arab List Party on 4. There you can see the map of the best party. In the blue ones, it's Likud, in the dark blue, United Torah Judaism, in that sort of green colour, the Joint List. But Likud lost 7 seats, still got 24.2% of the vote, so still got the most. Yesh Atid gained 1 with 13.9%. Shas held steady with 7.2%, and with other parties going down, that put them in third. Blue and White lost 4 with 6.6%, Yamina gained 4 seats with 6.2%, and Labour gained 5 with 6.1%. United Torah Judaism held steady with 5.6%, as did Yisrael Beitenu. Now, quite interestingly, both parties got just under 250,000 votes, but only 21 votes put UTJ ahead of Yisrael Beitenu. The Religious Zionist Party gained 4 seats with 5.1%, while the Joint List lost 5 with 4.8%, probably one of the biggest losers of the election. New Hope gained 4 seats with 4.7%, while Meretz gained 2 with 4.6%. The United Arab List held firm with 3.8%. The New Economic Party with 0.8% were the closest to being the threshold. Now, this result has led to a bit of a gridlock, because Likud and their allies can't command a majority, but nor can their opponents, because there are some parties that are in the middle or don't really want either. Now, the problem is that a right-wing coalition, which could include the United Arab List, could be formed, but that seems difficult because of the right-wing religious Jewish parties probably wouldn't want to include an Islamist party. The other idea could be the United Arab List joining the left-wing bloc, but as they're a conservative party, this seems difficult as well. So the arithmetic is quite difficult as it stands. But I suppose we'll see what happens. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Certainly a bit confusing sometimes, Israeli politics, but I hope you learned something. And I'd be especially interested to hear from you if you are from Israel. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you for the next one.